Chapter 4 Fault Lines. No one fired first. That was the fragile miracle of it. The soldiers from Eden 12 stood in a defensive arc around the base of the elevator column, their suits reflecting the violet glare. Their weapons, compact radiation pulse rifles designed for sterilization sweeps, remained angled downward, but not by much. Across the basin, the surface dwellers formed no rigid line. They did not cluster defensively. Instead, they spread outward, fluid and deliberate, positioning themselves between crystalline growths that refracted light. Clara stood between them. The fault line. Dr. Rowan's voice projected from the elevator column. Clara, this does not need to escalate. Kale's reply was calm. Then recall your machines. The drones hovered above like metallic carrion birds, lenses rotating, threat algorithms recalculating in real time. Rowan did not immediately respond. We are conducting a reclamation assessment, he said at last. Surface conditions are survivable in limited zones. That changes everything. It changes nothing, Mara said sharply. You still see this world as broken. It is broken, Rowan answered. The magnetosphere remains unstable. Helios debris continues to distort solar flux. Radiation spikes are unpredictable, and yet we live, Kale said. For now. The quiet condescension in Rowan's tone was unmistakable. Clara felt heat rise in her chest, not from sunlight, but from memory. Eden 12's doctrine had always framed survival as temporary unless tightly controlled. Control was safety, chaos was death. But what if chaos had become a different kind of order? One of the soldiers shifted position. His boot crushed a crystalline root. The plant did not splinter. Instead, its surface darkened, then hardened, absorbing the pressure without fracture. Clara noticed something else. The black forest was moving, subtly, not in the wind, toward the soldiers. Microscopic filaments extended from the roots, threading through soil in silent networks. Rowan, she said quietly, eyes fixed on the ground. Call them back. On what basis? You're standing inside an ecosystem that doesn't recognize you. That is precisely why we are here. A sharp tone sounded from one of the drones overhead. Environmental anomaly detected. The ground beneath the nearest soldier shifted, not collapsing, rising. A lattice of dark growth erupted upward around his legs, not violent, but swift, hardening into a cage of crystalline bars. The soldier shouted, losing balance as the structure locked around his lower body. Weapons snapped upward instantly. Stand down, Clara yelled. Too late. A pulse rifle discharged. The blast struck a nearby tree, shattering its upper canopy in a spray of molten shards. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the forest responded, the air filled with a high-frequency hum. Across the basin, crystalline trunks brightened from within, absorbing and redistributing the pulse energy. Light raced along branching networks like neural signals. The cage around the trapped soldier thickened, reinforcing itself. The drones recalibrated, targeting multiple heat signatures simultaneously. Rowan, Clara said, voice steady despite the chaos. This isn't an attack. A soldier is restrained. He stepped on a root system. That is not justification. It's adaptation. Rowan hesitated. Above them, the drones emitted a synchronized targeting tone. Mara stepped forward again, raising both hands this time. Subdermal nodes along her arms ignited, brighter than before. Others followed her lead. Across the basin, dozens of surface dwellers lifted their hands toward the sky. Clara felt it before she understood it. A pressure in the air, an accumulation. They weren't just discharging energy. They were drawing it. The violet sky shimmered more intensely, as if responding. Radiation that would have once meant certain death now pooled along invisible pathways, redirected through bodies evolved to channel it. Rowan, Clara whispered, if they release that, I see it. He replied tightly. For the first time, uncertainty entered his voice. Helios had taught Eden 12 one lesson brutally well. Energy, once amplified, rarely obeyed its maker. Recall the drones, Clara said. They are defensive. So is this. The hum intensified. Clara looked at Kale. He met her gaze, understanding flickering there. This was not war. It was demonstration, a statement of capability. Rowan made a decision. Drones. Disengage primary targeting. Ascend to observation altitude. There was a half-second delay, long enough for Clara to imagine the wrong outcome. Then the drone's beams powered down. They rose higher, widening their perimeter. The soldiers held position, weapons still raised but no longer firing. Mara lowered her hands slowly. The gathered energy dispersed not explosively, but in a controlled ripple that radiated outward, causing the crystalline forest to pulse in luminous waves before settling back into relative stillness. The cage around the trapped soldier loosened, retracting into the soil. He stumbled free, shaken but unharmed. Silence followed, heavy, charged. Rowan spoke first. "You have weaponized the environment." Mara's expression was cool. "We integrated with it. That display," Rowan continued, "confirms our concern. Unregulated adaptation creates unpredictable threat matrices." Kale exhaled softly. "You still think in terms of threat, and you think in terms of inevitability." Rowan shot back. Clara stepped forward again, forcing herself to occupy the space. "Helios tried to control a star," she said. "You're trying to control evolution." Rowan's gaze locked onto her. "And what do you propose? That we surrender the species to random mutation?" "Nothing about this is random anymore," Clara replied. She extended her arm toward the forest. "Look at it. 200 years of pressure, selection, integration. They're not collapsing. They're diverging," Rowan said. "Yes," Clara answered. "So are we." That was the word neither side wanted to speak aloud. Divergence implied separation. Separation implied incompatibility. Above them, the fractured remnants of the Helios array glinted faintly in orbit, broken mirrors still catching sunlight, still bending radiation. The sky itself was unstable. "Clara," Rowan said carefully, "your genome is the only known bridge between baseline humanity and this. Surface adaptation." There it was. Bridge. "And bridges," he continued, "are meant to connect, or to cross," Kale said quietly. Rowan ignored him. "Return with us. We can replicate your adaptive sequence. Introduce it safely, gradually, without chaos." Mara's eyes hardened. "You mean without us?" Rowan did not deny it. Clara felt the weight of both futures pressing inward. Underground stability built on control. Surface resilience built on transformation. "What happens," she asked Rowan, "if the next flare is stronger?" Rowan's jaw tightened. "Our models failed before," she interrupted. A flicker of anger passed through him. "That failure saved 30,000 lives and ended billions," Mara said. The words hung in the ultraviolet air. Clara closed her eyes briefly. She could feel the sun on her skin, not hostile, not gentle, indifferent. Helios had been humanity's attempt to negotiate with indifference. The surface dwellers had adapted to it. Eden 12 had retreated from it. She opened her eyes. "I won't go back," she said. The soldiers stiffened. Rowan's expression froze, not rage, but calculation. "You misunderstand," he said evenly. "This is not a request based solely on preference." Kale stepped closer to Clara. "And what is it based on?" "Continuity," Rowan replied. "If divergence continues unchecked, we risk speciation." The words settled over the basin like fallout. Speciation. The splitting of one species into two. Mara's voice was almost reflective. "Perhaps that already happened." Rowan looked at Clara. "Is that what you want? To end Homo sapiens?" The question struck deeper than she expected. Was survival defined by sameness, or by persistence in any form? Clara looked at the soldiers in sealed suits, at the surface dwellers whose skin shimmered with captured sunlight, at the broken sky above. "I don't want extinction," she said quietly. "Then come back," Rowan urged. She shook her head. "I want evolution to stop pretending it needs permission." Silence again. The drones hovered higher now, observing rather than threatening. Rowan exhaled slowly. "This conversation is not over," he said. "No," Clara agreed. "It's just begun." The elevator column remained extended, a metallic scar against living ground. Neither side advanced, neither side retreated, but the line between them had shifted, not toward peace, toward inevitability. High above, solar radiation flared briefly across the fractured Helios debris field, scattering light in chaotic prisms. The sky flickered, and for the first time, both versions of humanity looked up together.